Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some amazing financial commentary together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. Please, I would really appreciate that. So, today I want to talk about investing simplified because I do watch him every once in a while. When I was going through this round of looking things up for investing, he was one of the channels that I found. And one of the things that he talks about is his modern three fund portfolio because he is a college professor in finance, and he wants to modernize the three fund portfolio because bonds haven't really been acting like the hedge that they're supposed to be for quite a while, which is something I intuitively have been doing, like not investing in bonds, mostly because the condo that I bought, the interest rate was enough that I was like, well, instead of getting a 6% return on a bond, why don't I just pay off my condo? That's a guaranteed 6% return, negative return to me. So, or 6% is in savings. So, I like the fact because he used to say it was VU, SCHG, and then SCHD, but it didn't have to be those three things specifically. It's 1/3 of your portfolio in a basic broad market ETF like VU or BT, and 1/3 in a growth oriented like a momentum like SPMO or QQQ, and some people say QQQ is the broad market, but whatever, or SCHG, and then value related things that they'll still go down, like they're correlated, they're equities, but they're better valued companies, so hopefully in the drawdown it doesn't go down as much. So I think this 2 days ago he has, if you invest in my new three fund portfolio, change this now. Seems very dramatic. So I would love to know what he wants us to change about that. We don't actually need to be watching commercials together, so here we go.
If you clicked on this video, that means you most likely already invest using my new three fund portfolio.
A lot of online, they call them like the bogleheads, they say, no, this is not legitimate. This is, just a newfangled thing that's not back tested properly, and you have to do your international, the bonds, and the total market, and that's it. There's no room for debate. You can't do any historical data, but we'll see. But he did show his pie chart with the growth, the value, the broad market.
I've been telling people my super simple system that's been beating the market for years, and I've come across tens of thousands of people who've adopted this system of investing. The problem is that right now, things have changed, and even more, things are about to change like crazy. So it's time to go and check your...
Ooh, for the most part, the thing that I like, when I was investing before this whole high income ETF journey, I was just 100% in VU, and I was fine with that. And when you're doing like this three fund portfolio or VU, you just have to make peace with the fact that you're not going to make as much profit as you kind of like probably could, but you're also not losing as much money as you could if you got into the habit of getting into more risky things, and then all of a sudden you don't have any money because you had all this conviction in something and it went to zero. So
portfolio and probably switch some things up. I'll give you 3 big scenarios that I've run into working with my private clients one-on-one, and I know at least one of these is something that you're going to have to go and figure out. The new 3 fund portfolio is one where it should work no matter what's happening in the world, and even in a down market, you should be in a very good position. Let's discuss.
that's because it's not a direct hedge, but in the downturn market, something like SCHD or whatever he's telling us to change to, it buoys the price of your portfolio, so your value doesn't go down as much, but you also get more performance than just the S&P 500 in the bull run because of the 1/3 that's in something like SHG.
My name is Nolan Govea. My students call me Professor G, and I made this channel to make investing simplified. Remember that all investing carries risks, so do your own research.
But I mean, if you change your investing strategy based on the market conditions, that's a really great way to lose money, because then you start to, you get FOMO, or not FOMO, FUD. Like, you start using your emotions to make investing decisions, and the best investing people are dead, according to Vanguard. So invest like a dead person. Just don't change your strategy once you figured out what you're doing.
Research. This is not financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, so just a quick refresher, the whole point of my new 3-fund...
Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm not a CFP. I'm not a college professor. I'm just someone that really likes personal finance, and I can consume this kind of content all day, but this is definitely not financial advice. Make up your own opinions, do your own research.
Portfolio is number 1, to update Jack Bogle's old school 3-fund portfolio by kicking out bonds and kicking out international exposure, because both have proven to underperform massively long.
Yeah, so the thought behind the international stocks was, even though they underperform usually, there is a chance that they could overperform versus the S&P 500. But it hasn't been a thing. And most American companies do business internationally nowadays, so there's really no reason to be in international stocks. And if you want the exposure, do something like VT, which is like the total world. So,
term. Number 2, though, my 3-fund portfolio is there to give you customization in your portfolio in order to dial up or dial down the risk versus the safety. In certain times, more risky plays make sense, and in other times, it may be much smarter to increase the safety and stability. So let's get right to it. Scenario number 1. You've been riding the easy money train over these last couple of years, and the growth portion of your portfolio vastly outweighs the rest of the portfolio. Now, yes, in these past...
Yeah. I thought I was being smooth, and then I lost all my money. So, yes, it is easy to overweight your portfolio when things are good, because risk and risk mitigation gets skewed. But he's not saying this now, but there's different ways to rebalance your portfolio. You can do it by, like, once a quarter, you go in and you say, we'll just make this 1/3 all the way around. Or when you get the distribution or dividends, we would probably be doing with SEHG. Oh my gosh, SEHD and VU. Then when you go to reinvest the dividends, then you rebalance it by just putting money into the stuff, like when it's out of balance. You put it towards the thing that's undervalued in your portfolio. So if the market is really good and your growth portion becomes 35% of your portfolio and SEHD has a dividend, then you just reinvest it in SEHD, because SEHD is not 30%. However, if it's down market and all of a sudden your SEHD is like 40% of your portfolio, then you take the dividend and you put it into SEHG to make it so that your portfolio is better balanced. The only risks there are if it's like really, really a bad market or really, really a good market, it could get out of balance quicker than you can rebalance via dividends.
Couple of years, technology, AI, semiconductors, any of these things, if you've been putting money there, congratulations, you've probably made a lot of money, and this has been quite the run-up. But no matter where you look, and even if you just have been investing for a short period of time, you should probably start to feel this feeling of, How much further can this go? And that's the correct feeling to be feeling at this point. It's definitely
Kind of. I don't think you should trust any Green Day. Like, always be prepared for a downturn, but if things are going well, like, things don't have to go bad just because things are going well. But when everybody generally, like, if we're in a high fear environment, we're probably not going to crash because everyone's already on the alert. It's when we have like euphoria and everyone thinks everything's great is when you get the sudden crashes. So I've been told, allegedly, there's no absolutes in the market, but that's been my impression of what happens. And I've been an active investor since July 2024. So I'm like a baby in um, in terms of investing. So I guess as I get more experience, I can say definitively based off of my own lived experience, but it's really not that hard to do back testing either.
definitely not fun to see certain parts of the portfolio, like if you're investing in value or SCHD or things that don't have high tech exposure. I'm sure that over the past couple of months, you haven't been happy to throw any money over there because you'd like to see it green. You like to see it going.
Everybody's so dramatic when things go down. Like, as long as you believe in your stock in the long run and you just happen to be in an environment where the stock you're in doesn't do well, well, if you believe in it in like 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 years, just get it on a discount, okay?
Going up. For anyone who's been investing for 15 years or more, most of us see those green ones as the time to stop actually putting more money in. I would rather be putting money in red. I would rather be putting money in something that's not gaining at this point.
It's like just a mindset shift of, like, it is pretty exciting when you do have money and the market's red and you're like, oh, well, I have the money, I can spend money and it's a discount. But it, like, once you're in the position, you have a large portion and you're in that position, it is kind of hard to see it go down. And then you do have to question, like, is this only a bull market thing, or is it going to survive a big major crash or a bear market?
Point, but eventually when things turn, that amount that you accumulated will actually profit much, much more. I know psychologically this sounds crazy, but that's the whole point in investing. And that's why people like Warren Buffett and other people that you probably look up to have always said things like, make sure you go against the grain.
It's like going thrift shopping or bargain bin. Like, what is everybody hating on? And does it have good fundamentals? Is this something that I would love to be invested in? Um, and if it's cheap enough, you buy it. And then if you think that it'll, and then, in a few years' time, it has a good momentum, and then all of a sudden you look like a genius because you were smart enough to be greedy when others were fearful. Which I do have a whole song about this, but we can listen to that instead.
Go against the crowd. If everybody else is doing it, it's probably time to do something different. So the solution here would be to get everything back to balanced. There's no reason why you don't have at least 30% of your portfolio in value or something safe at this time. For me personally, I'm aiming for 40% value, 40% foundational, and 20% growth. Notice here that I'm definitely not saying get totally out of growth and sell all your tech stocks. I'm not doing that, but I am making sure and getting things back into balance. Now this next scenario,
I just rebalanced. I mean, it was kind of a forced rebalancing, but in general, that's what happens. People get too speculative, put things on margin, and the market's like, no, you cannot do that. And then the market pulls back and people get liquidated. So margin's dangerous. But we were talking about just looking at portfolio on a quarterly basis. Is your portfolio out of balance, out of whack.
Scenario has to do with picking the correct dividend fund. And so
I don't know what my dogs are barking at.
So here's the thing. As you know, my 3-fund portfolio is the best way to invest, especially for simplicity. And this is just going to save you so much time and stress. Just like the sponsor of this video saves me time and enhances my life as a creator as well. Thank you to Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. Storyblocks is a stock media subscription service offering unlimited access to high-quality stock videos, images, music, sound effects, and more, helping creators and businesses enhance their projects without extra costs and more peace of mind. Now, I've used stock media sites.
Okay. That makes sense that there are stock media sites. I've been wondering where people get their B-roll stuff from, but I just don't ever feel like I need to, because I just tell my opinions about things. So that's interesting.
It's before, but this one's so different as it keeps me creative and lets me show my unique style in my videos. I love this platform because the library of footage is actually from real artists around the world that were crafted with intention and creativity. Storyblocks gives you unlimited downloads of diverse and high quality media for one predictable subscription cost. Everything you need in one place. 4K and HD video, templates, music, sound effects, images, and more. You could choose a monthly or annual plan with no hidden or extra fees. Also,
Yeah, so if I wouldn't go right out the bat and do a subscription to something like Storyblocks. It's only after you're making money from being monetized that you could look and say, like, if I get the subscription, I put in the B-roll, and it helps with retention, is this a cost that makes sense?
Also very important, anything that you download on Storyblocks is 100% royalty-free, pre-licensed, and
If I stopped recording every time my dogs were obnoxious, I would never get through this, but my dog did come in, and I was like, don't you dare do that again, because I was like, yes, let's get through this in ad.
cut licensing, which is very important for us creators. To get started with unlimited stock media downloads at one set price, head to storyblocks.com/investing simplified or click the link down in my description. So like I was saying, the second scenario and the thing that I want to go over here for your 3-fund portfolio that you might want to switch up is making sure that you're picking the correct dividend fund or picking the correct safety fund.
So everyone was in love with the SCHD because it was outperforming, and then all of a sudden it's not outperforming. So then I think it's like Devo, right?
In the portfolio. I get it. SCHD has been underperforming compared to a bunch of other things. Fine, don't invest in that one. But the whole point of this section is not just the dividend. This section's supposed to have a lower beta than the foundational ETF, which makes it safer. SCHD is very low tech exposure. At the very least, find an ETF that has very low tech exposure. I'm seeing a lot of people that absolutely love my 3-fund portfolio, but they're just saying, well, SCHD isn't doing that great. So I'm going to either get dividend fund that has been performing better as far as appreciation, or I'm going to get one that has a much higher dividend, like SPYI or JEPI or...
That's... Okay. SPYI is not a dividend fund. It's a high income fund or cover call fund. They don't pay dividends. They pay distributions, which the difference is the money that you're getting is derived from the options that they do, which is selling cover calls, which is different than a traditional dividend, because your traditional dividend is coming from, the business making money, and they distribute the profit to you. And some of the dividend subreddits, they don't like to include SPYI or QQQI because they're cover call funds and they cap the upside, and the expense ratio is really expensive. So don't let me fool you, though. I am 100% in these high income ETFs. The reason is because I need to live off of it for now, and I need more money. But that doesn't mean I don't understand the logic behind like being in an SCHD instead of in SPY. But for me, like being in the traditional dividends stocks is more like, do I have a steady job that I'm going to have for the next 20 years? Because if I do, then I may as well have the least amount of expense ratios. And at the end, I'll have that $1 million I need anyways. So just something to put out there.
Or something like that that has an 8%, 10% dividend. The whole point here is not the dividend, it's the safety. Another big one that I've been seeing that you guys have been switching to is going from SCHD to DGRO. DGRO's
I keep saying Devo, but I'm pretty sure I meant DGRO, which is basically the same thing. It's just that they use a different rules-based whatever to invest in slightly different holdings. So yes, they've been outperforming SCHD, but in this market.
top holding is Apple. It has Microsoft and Broadcom in the top 10. These are technology companies, growth companies, same as what you have in the other sections of the portfolio. This is not bringing down your risk.
Do those technology companies pay a dividend? And I do agree, like already having an overconcentration in technology, and then you go and you do your value portion, and then you're also in a bunch of technology, doesn't make sense.
In any way. This is adding to your fund overlap. There's no actual reason for you to be investing in that. SCHD does have a dividend, and it's a very sustainable one, around 4%, which I do like a lot. The cash flow is nice, and it does add a layer of protection there, because then you're getting cash flow no matter what, even if the entire fund is down.
Sort of. Even though I was just saying, like, not SPY, but like with SPY, they pay monthly. Most of these high-income ETFs, they pay either weekly or monthly. And to me, like, that elevated distribution and lets me have less money and get more money back. So until you get a lot of money, you're not even going to notice that SCHD had a dividend.
Around 1 or 2%. If you're getting a 4% dividend in total, you're actually plus 2% that year. But the real superpower of the fund is its safe holding. So if you do choose to not invest in SCHD or something, look for one that has solid holdings that have very low tech exposure. Now, the third scenario. This has to do with the fact that you're not including your entire portfolio into the calculation, and thus you're leaving yourself so risky. This whole video here is all about pulling back risk. In 2021, everyone thought money grew on trees. The stock market was roaring, crypto was roaring, people were throwing money into high growth and high risk investments without a care. Then 2022 came around and wiped out 50% of traders. It bankrupted people in the blink of an eye. Same thing happened in 2000 with the dot-com bubble, and same thing happened in 2008 with the financial crisis. The year prior, people were printing money. Within weeks, people were filing for bankruptcy and broke.
The body scanner reveals the...
Okay, we don't need to be watching this ad together. Yeah, there was an ad, and then I got very tired because I was up late last night. So I had to get up early too to meet up with the fencing people. They got here at like 8:15, so I had to get up before that to get dressed and stuff.
Now, these past couple of years are eerily similar to those times, with the stock market going up around 25% in 2023 and again in 2024, and now this year up near 20% again. We need to see the writing on the wall, people. So the solution here is to take a look at the full portfolio, including your 401k, Roth IRA, brokerage, crypto, and very much specifically, individual stock holdings. It's not just enough to have one portion of your portfolio, like let's say your brokerage or maybe just your Roth IRA, and you have the 3-fund portfolio that I talk about, and you have that perfectly balanced to your risk adjustment there. But then in other parts of the portfolio, you have high risk. So like if you had a certain portfolio and a portion of it was the ETFs and that part's balanced, but then you have some individual stocks like Nvidia, Palantir, Tesla, Microsoft, Google, AMD, Amazon, etc. Let's just say you have like $350,000 in the ETFs and those are nice and balanced, like 33% in each category.
If you're not afraid of losing money temporarily, there's nothing wrong with having like 10% of your portfolio and your bullshit stuff. Just saying. Or like I have a leveraged trash account, which is my leveraged trash, and I have a Sailor Mooning, which is my strategy related income things, which not doing so hot right now.
But then you have 150,000 in individual stocks and they're all tech growth stocks. That skews your entire portfolio very much growth and way out of balance and way into risk. When I help people one-on-one, I make sure and look at
I like putting things in a basket so I'm not thinking about them as one whole, like this is my entire wealth. So it just depends on how you want to think about it. And if I think especially individual stocks, it should be money that like if it goes away, you're not devastated. You know? Like it's a bet, it's speculative. So if you have something to speculate and you don't consider it to be like your real portfolio, then there's nothing wrong with doing that, in my opinion.
Look at every single holding that they have, look at all the different portfolios that they hold, put everything together to get a full risk assessment. You also want to check the specific holdings within certain things that you're invested in with.
I think though, maybe as you have more money and you're getting closer to retirement age, whether it's like closer to retirement, depending whether it's your age, like 65, or it's the money. Yeah, like look at everything together as a whole and just to make sure that you're not like over allocating yourself to something.
In the 401k to know, are they more tech heavy? What's going on there? In general, the main thing that you should be doing right now, especially near the end of this year, is to look at the overall risk profile that you have right now and see if that lines up with what you want. Most likely it's time to rebalance. I'll be talking more and more about different ways to rebalance and different funds that I'm looking at that can help your portfolio, but all in all, think that you should be looking at specifically value style ETFs. So watch this video here that I just talked about. That could be a replacement for SCHD or work together with SCHD. Or watch this one to keep you going strong in investing.
Who's coming in?
So did we learn anything new? Probably not. Okay. So we have the fund makeup, which is the 3 funds. And the 3 funds, they have a different purpose, each part of it. And in the end, you still have to manage it. You still have to rebalance it, whether it's a monthly or quarterly, yearly. But what will happen is the market has a certain kind of condition, whether it's everything is down because we're in the middle of a recession, or everything's going up because we're in a bull run, and then that part of your portfolio that you have to weather yourself through that condition. I mean, I'm not sure if growth and it being a big bull run is called weathering, but if you do that, then you rebalance the winners into the ones that are losing in this current situation. In the long run, you'll have more money, in theory, hopefully. So because we had, I picked out It's Okay, DCA, but we can go to Financial Philharmonics and look for Greedy. Buffett. What did I call it? Yeah. Did I not spell Buffett right? Huh.
I do not mean to be greedy. I do not mean to be greedy. Be greedy through the fear of I do dip.
I was inspired to make this song because I didn't think I was being greedy. And so I had a very aggressive portfolio. And then in April, we had that big correction, and I was like, oh no, I was greedy. Buy the dip.
I do not mean to be greedy. I do not mean to be greedy. Be greedy through the fear of I do dip. Markets crashing, fear is high. I hear Buffett's battle cry. Be the wise one by the dip. I did not mean to be greedy. I did not mean to be greedy. Be greedy through the fear by the dip.
So, yeah, always buy the dip. If you need a song to remind you that you need to do that, then Financial Philharmonics is your friend. But, and this is part of the Buy the Dip playlist. So I'm just going to encourage everyone to know your battle plans before the market hits that condition. And your battle plan really should be the same whether you're in a bull or a bear market. Just invest in your favorite things.
Markets crashing, fear is high. I hear Buffett's battle cry. Be the wise one by the dip. Be greedy through the fear by the dip. I load up big, won't let it slip. Whispers hum, fear permeates, but I know what to do, no regret. I did not mean to be greedy. I did not mean to be greedy. Be greedy through the fear by the dip. Be a shark swimming in red.
Be a shark swimming in red. That was first like AI generated that in a different song, and I really love that analogy of like be a shark swimming in red. Like you're getting the best fodder for your portfolio if you have cash and everything's pulled back and you can load the boat. So I really like that analogy, so that's why you hear it placed in multiple songs of mine, especially around this time period. I get influenced by my own music.
Investing bold to get ahead. I did not mean to be greedy. I did not mean to be greedy. Be greedy through the fear by the dip. Thought I was Buffett, played it wrong. Just greedy, greedy all along.
I didn't mean to be greedy, but it turns out I was greedy the whole time. Oops. Yeah.
I did not mean to be greedy. Well, not too greedy.
So in conclusion, don't be greedy. Rebalance your portfolio. I like this outro.
That you enjoy this financial entertainment. If you were entertained, please like and subscribe. None of this was financial advice.
Yeah, so I do like that outro. I change it every month with Financial Philharmonics, and finally someone was like, please stop. Just do an outro card like a normal person. So we don't sing anymore. Anyways, DCA, rebalance your portfolio. Remember why you're invested in the things that you're in the first place so that in the downturn, you're not trying to change your strategy halfway through, fumbling the football, fumbling your play. And in the long term, if you stick to your guns and you're not too greedy, you will prosper and be relatively better off than you would have otherwise been. So, anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.